Hello and welcome to Make It Happen with Will Polston. I'm Will Polston. This is episode number 23, and on this episode we're going to be talking about selecting strategies for success. Now I'm going to kick off by talking about a guy you've probably heard of called Isaac Newton, who's most famous for his work on universal gravitation, or as we know it, gravity, and developing the three laws of motion, which form the basic principles of modern physics. And one of his quotes was, "If I have seen further than others, it's by standing upon the shoulders of giants." And I couldn't agree more with that. For years now, from a very, very young age, I just started what I now know, thanks to neuro-linguistic programming, to be called modelling. So I would model other people. I remember vividly when I was a pot boy in a bar when I was about 14, 15 years old. I used to look at what did the people that emptied the dishwasher do was different. How did they put their hands in? What did they do? How did they arrange the dishwasher so they could get glasses out quicker? I remember when I first started working in investment sales, I sat next to the guy that was the best salesperson on the trading floor, and I thought, well, what did he do differently? How did he work differently? And I remember even things like the guy that used to get a certain amount of prospectuses out more than anybody else. He would do all of his prospectuses at the end of the day, whereas other people would sort of do a great call and then go and print off the covering letter and then get the prospectus, then get it franked and then do it, and little things like that. And over the years, I've learned various different things that have worked really, really well, and that's what we're going to be talking about in this particular episode. So, a strategy is a specific way of organising resources in order to consistently produce a specific result. And there are four things that you must learn from someone else if you're going to use their strategy. Now, number one is the ingredients. So what ingredients are they using? And we can see that via our senses, both externally what they're doing, and then the thing that that I've done, which not a lot of people do, but it's something that I've become obsessed with over the last 15 years or so, is what are the ingredients that they've got internally as well? So what's their thought process? What are they thinking? The second thing is the amounts and the quantities of the thing that they do. The third thing is the order and the sequence that they do the things they've obviously got the amounts and the quantities of, and finally is the intensity and the duration that they're doing these things. Now, for you to learn your strategy, you can use your five senses, right? So visually, you can see what they're doing. You can hear what they are doing, but you can also hear from them what they're doing in terms of their thought process by asking great questions. Kinesthetically, you can feel what they're doing. You get a feeling, the feeling that they the feel that they give off when they're doing certain things. And then there's also experiences, and again, I'll never forget, with regards to smell and taste as well. I remember we had one of our events that was running once, and everything was set up perfectly. Right, we had the right amount of chairs, as we always do. We had the banners all in the right place. Everything was set up perfectly, but the room, as I walked in, stunk of fish and chips. And that, for me, was something that would have completely changed the experience for someone that was coming to that event, because one of our team members had bought their lunch in and had fish and chips, which, as you probably know, has quite a distinct smell. And then the taste as well. So again, the experience of the taste that can be felt. And again, some of these things aren't necessarily relevant, but they also are relevant at the same time. So first of all is amounts and quantities. So understand that small things can have a big effect and big things can have a small effect, and ensure that you have the right amounts and quantities of the ingredients of the things that we spoke about that someone's doing. The next thing is the order and the sequence. You must learn the syntax, which is the order and sequence, to produce a specific result. Just to use a really simple example, Will bit the dog versus the dog bit Will. There's the same ingredients, there's the same amounts and quantities, but the order and the sequence create a very, very different experience and picture in your mind as a result of it. And then the last thing is the intensity and the duration. How to use your body to apply the action will determine how your recipe is actually going to cook. The intensity and the duration of the action that you take is like the oven that produces the cake or the result from your recipe. And that's really what a strategy is. It's a recipe. So really, really important things for you to bear in mind. And there's a few different things that we can do when we're looking at strategies. So that's the basics, right? These are the things that we want to look at, and you probably realise that a lot of the things that you've been doing these things subconsciously, but if you proactively go out and find this information, you'll find yourself accelerating much, much quicker, particularly if you're modelling someone that's already getting the result that you want to that you want to be getting. The second thing, and in fact, before we move on to the next thing, the thing that's really, really, really important when you're doing all of this, and I know I touched on it, but I want to make this really, really evident, is that when you're looking to model someone else, make sure you understand their thinking, right? And if this is someone that you know, you can ask them, what are you thinking? What's going on in your mind when you're doing these actions, when you're pushing forward, when you're doing these things? I remember years and years and years ago, there was a particular friend of mine who was a really good long distance runner. And no matter what I tried to move my arms like him, move my legs like him. I had the same breakfast as him. I wore the same trainers as him. Whatever I would do, I couldn't get the same result. And he would run that much further than me. And one day I asked him, I said, what's going on in your mind when you're pushing to get and you're getting so much further? He said, I don't think about running to the end of the race. I think about running to the next lamppost. So that was an insight that I got, is that he actually didn't run to get to the finish line. He just ran from lamppost to lamppost to lamppost. So he was really closed focus on the very next thing that he was doing. And that had a significant impact on me. So understand what people are thinking. If you don't know them and you're trying to model someone that's got significant goals, then you can learn from various different autobiographies, podcasts, and things like that. But we'll come to that in a second. Another thing I want to talk about is owning the traits of the greats. So as well as specific strategies, there's also specific traits that you will admire in people. So what traits do you respect, admire, or look up to people that you perceive as a role model, and why is that? What specifically is about them people is it that you respect? What could you learn from these people? So what I recommend that you do is get a piece of paper and write down 5 models, for example, 5 role models, people that you look up to, right? And then next to that, on the right-hand side of that piece of paper with the name that you've written, what are 5 traits? What are things that they have or things that they do that you respect about them? So it might be something like Richard Branson. You might say, right, I respect his integrity, his creativity, his tenacity, his belief in himself. You might pick someone like Mother Teresa and say, I respect her compassion, her faith, her humility, right? And start to look for these traits. There's a great quote by Chris Akabusi, and that is that top achievers should be looked into, not up to. And I think it's so important. If we've got a top achiever, rather than looking up to them and putting them on a pedestal, let's find out what they're doing, what they're thinking, what the actions that they're taking. By you acknowledging the traits that these people have, it does one or two things. It's either an indication for you that this is something that you could be doing more of. So what could you be doing to introduce more self-belief? What could you be doing to introduce more humility, right? Or the flip side to that is quite often that we're not actually acknowledging that we're being humble in our own lives, or we're not acknowledging that we've got a significant amount of self-belief, or we're not acknowledging we've got a lot of creativity. So this is a really eye-opening, reflective process. The next thing, if you're looking to achieve success, is the skills for success. So think about what contacts, skills, or knowledge do you require in order for you to achieve the success. Of course, success is subjective, that you desire, and who has those qualities, and also, in some cases, more importantly, who do they know, right? So make a list of people that have a skill or knowledge that you require, and then who has those skills. So you might be able to reach out to that particular contact, or you might be able to reach out to that person that's got those skills. If you can't, then think of someone that does have those skills that you could reach out to. Now, there's a few different ways that you could look into these people and you could learn about them. One of them, and thanks to the internet, we can watch videos on YouTube about them. We could read their books or their autobiographies. You could reach out and you could interview them. You can spend time with people. I mean, you can spend time with, you could literally spend 6 hours with hours with a billionaire if you want for £10, and that's going and buying their book. Right, reading their book or their biography gives you the ability to spend time with people. I've learned so much from biographies and autobiographies because I get to spend time learning from not only the person, but also quite often in those biographies, other people are interviewed that knew these people really, really well. You can spend time with people on podcasts, learning from them from podcasts, in-person events, going to events that they're running or events they're speaking at. Spending time with people that knew those people can be equally valuable. And another way that you can do it is working with those people. So actually investing in their services or actually going to work for them. So they pay you, but you get to spend time with them. So an exercise for you is, what other ways could you think of that you could spend time with these people so that you could be learning? It's something that will have a significant impact on you moving forward. Something else that I want to talk about in order for you to be able to achieve your success, however you define it, is that proximity is power. According to research from Harvard University, the biggest determining factor of success, longevity and fulfillment to a person is a person's ability to create and cultivate a powerful peer group. From personal experience, I think it's highly necessary to have a group of people that influence you, a group of people that challenge you, a group of people that support you, that you admire and trust. Now, we use a simple formula to help you design and create a peer group that will influence you, inspire you, challenge you, and support you throughout your life journey. And this includes a simple way that your peer group can help add more meaning and purpose to your life as well. And it's the 33% rule. This simple concept is a guide that will help you create the ultimate peer group. If your peer group was made up of 12 solid people, we'd recommend that you split this up into 3 different groups. Now, this doesn't mean that you disconnect and burn bridges with all your existing friends and peer groups. You can keep those, but this is a specific peer group that's designed to progress you forward and move you closer to your goals. So the first type of category, which is 1/3 of the category, is mentors. So mentors are people that you can learn from in the specific area that you're focused on excelling in. And the reason why you want to do that is that they have a track record of performance and have achieved exceptional results that you can model. So the next section is colleagues or peers, and these are people that are at a similar stage of experience as you are in the category of life that you're focused on and you're looking to excel in. And you want these people in your group because you can trade tips and strategies to help each other consistently improve performance, and also it enables you to have a bit of healthy competition as well. The third group of people that you want to surround yourself in your peer group are mentees. So these are people that are a step or 2 behind you. You want these people so that you can share with them what works and what doesn't work to help them excel in their journey. So it's effectively where you're becoming the mentor. And being able to spend time with these people as often as you can will speed up your process. One of the things that's fascinating about being a mentor and having mentees is that it gives you a real sense of fulfillment, which is really, really beautiful. And I would recommend that you aim to connect with people that influence you, that you admire and that you trust every 90 days at the very minimum. I mean, in an ideal world, you want to have this group of people that you're touching base with sort of weekly if you can, certainly monthly, but at the very, very least once every 90 days. So what I recommend to you to do, here's a little exercise for you, is make a list, grab a pen and paper and write a list of 12 people, 4 mentors, 4 colleagues or peers and 4 mentees and these could be people that you've thought of in the previous exercises and others that you can think of too. So we're just getting towards the end of selecting strategies for success, but there's one little nugget that I want to finish on, and that's the manifestation formula. Anything that you bring into actuality is a form of manifestation. The word manifest actually means clear or obvious to the eye or mind. For me, it's more about how do we make this thing become real? How do we make it actually happen? I suppose you could call it the make it happen formula, but more specifically, I'm talking about manifestation, to make something really become real. And what will happen by you applying this formula, you can literally make your dreams come true. So the very first thing in the manifestation formula is to have purpose. So what is the purpose? What's the reason why you're doing something? The second thing is to think about it, so to have thought. The third thing is to have vision, then to use affirmations, words of power, then to feel it, to really feel it in existence. Write about it in space and time, so actually writing down what it is that you want. Then to take persistent action with energy on matter, so not persistently just thinking about it, which could be deemed an action, persistently taking action, so moving forward. Now, these final two things that I'm going to talk about are the reason that most people fall down and they don't bring into their life what it is that they would truly like. The first thing is to be thankful, to be grateful for what it is that you've already got, because your vibration is ultimately what's going to be impacting what's coming into your life. And if you're not grateful for what's going on, then you'll be a vibrational mismatch, and you're not going to attract the things that you really, really want. You're literally repelling them from coming towards you. So being grateful is so important. And then the final thing is to have a deserve level, to deserve what it is that you want. The reason that people don't attract what it is that they want into their life is because their deserve level is low. They're holding on to some level of shame or guilt around anything. It doesn't have to be shame or guilt to do with the thing that they've actually that they actually want. But if they've got any form of shame and guilt in their life, then it's going to show up and in the form of them not getting what they want. Specifically, if you're holding on to lots of shame and guilt, you'll find yourself quite often. One of the ways that it's a real good sign that you're holding on to a lot of shame and guilt is because of your financial situation. You might make lots of money, but you never have lots of money. So if you find yourself in that situation, then I would highly recommend you look at deserve level, but I can do another podcast on that in due course. So I hope you found this episode beneficial. I'd like to finish on a Wayne Dyer quote, and that is, within all of us is a divine capacity to manifest and attract all that we need and desire. So apply what we've spoken about in selecting strategies for success in this episode. Let me know how you get on. Please leave us a 5-star review if you found this beneficial, and look forward to joining you on the next episode very soon. Until next time, make it happen.
Thank you for listening to this episode of the Make It Happen with Will Polston podcast. Make sure you join Will's free Facebook group, the Make It Happen community. Please support the show by subscribing on iTunes, Spotify, Stitcher, SoundCloud, or Google Play. Share this episode with at least one friend you think would benefit from it, and give Will a 5-star review wherever you download your podcasts. Until next time, make it happen.